Welcome back to the channel. And I'm out of breath right now because I just finished getting this 2-inch cowl hood for the Black Widow out of my storage unit. Gonna be taking it over to my good friend's house, AKA Fat Dan. I'll talk to you guys in a few minutes. Woo. Notice the mileage on this 2000 Ford Excursion of 215,567. That's fairly low miles considering the year, but also it's got the same engine and everything, so the V10 runs strong. This is my friend and co-worker, Fat Dan.
How's it going, everybody?
And this is his 65 Chevelle he's been working on. And let me tell you, it sounds mean. He's still working on building it, so. Should I LS swap the Black Widow?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Riding on the street like that is just, it's...
So if this is any indication of how fast the car is, better watch out.
In case you don't know.
In case you're deaf.
Oh, I'm sure deaf people probably
Feel it.
feel it, and paralyzed people get up and walk away.
Once you see the motor, should I LS swap the Black Widow? Be continued.
Please, no! No! No!
Man, that looks like AstroTurf out there. It is. Oh. I'm like, dang, that looks
I'm
perfect
white,
patch of yard.
I'm white, but I'm not taking care of my yard white. I think I'm mowing a lawn. I give the illusion of it, but I still got some Brady turf. I just changed zip code. I haven't changed nothing else. I don't even like picking up the 6 weeds that grow next around the border.
This is Fat Dan. He's gonna show us a 65 Chevelle and give us the history behind it.
So I bought this car as a roller in the year of 2003. I was 18 years old, as they say, young and dumb. I just bought it, I wanted it. So this was my uncle's first car, and he bought it in 1984, which was the year I was born. And so as a little kid, he kept it in my grandma's garage, and I would always go out and play with it, and my dad would come up and hit me, "Get away from that car, you're gonna get hurt." And my whole life I wanted it, I wanted it, I wanted it. So one point in time I came to him and I said, "Hey man, I wanna buy the car." And he said, "Okay, $800. And I was like, "That's cheap, but I don't have any money." I had to make payments on an $800 car. That's how you knew you shouldn't have bought it. So I bought it, and I've been dragging it around for 21 years now. It's had a couple of different things. The current phase it's in, it's a 383 LS. It's a 5.3 liter truck block, bored out, stroked. It's got a K1 crank, rods, Wiseco pistons, Texas speedheads. Everything was spec'd out by me. It's 11.5-to-1 compression, big comp cam. It's carbureted right now, but the ultimate plan is to put twin turbos on it. But this was just to kind of get it to drive it to where I could go. It's got a Nitrous Express shot on it, or kit on it, capable of a 500 shot. It's got a turbo 400, Ford 9-inch, 31 spline axles, Global West front suspension with Viking coilovers in the front, Spone rear control arms, and it's got QA1 double adjustable coilovers in the back. Everything about this car, except for a few things, I've all done myself. I had the frame braced by a welder, so I had that done. It's powder coated in a custom Nardo gray. I redid the rear seat in it after spending 16 years looking for one. I put all the gauges in it, I wired it, I custom spec'd everything in the motor. I've got a second transmission right here that's built and ready to go that I did. I built the stand for the transmission and put every single live and last part in this thing, and I'm just waiting to get ready to put it in. It's currently just in between. I just want to enjoy it right now, save up my money, pay back what I've spent. You know, it's a big part of it. Everything I did, I'm doing by myself on a budget, work a little overtime as I can to try to save up money to buy parts. It's not perfect. It's not the best thing that's ever happened to Earth, but it's the best that I could do with the money that I got. And so that's really it. I've had this car for a long time. You know, it's kind of sentimental being that I was around it when I was a kid. It's got a lot of cool history being in our family since 1984, so it's been around for 40 years. A lot of work's been done to this car, and you know, it doesn't look like much, but it'll definitely give you a run for your money.
Originally, the reason why I came out here was not only to visit Dan, but to also bring my cowl hood out here because he also paints as well. And he has all the painting equipment. So him and I both are gonna undertake the task of actually prepping, painting it, and getting it ready to install. So. There it is.
I don't want the metal to get too hot.
Oh yes.
To where just sanding it'll be fine. But when you actually prime it, I don't want it to be too hot because the paint, it can cure too fast and it'll granulate and it'll look like crap. It'll look like it has sand in it.
Right.
If it's too hot, it'll evaporate before it reaches the panel and it'll get granular. So this is a brand new hood right here, and it's got E-coat, which is like a coating that they spray on to prevent rust, and keep the panel from corroding or having any issues. And what happens is you get sticky stuff on here like this, and what you don't want to do when you have a brand new panel like this and you start to sand it is to sand all the contaminants that could be on this panel into the panel, because that stuff can come back to haunt you. So you really want to kind of clean off everything, give it a good once over with some acetone or some Prep-All, clean up any of this adhesive, and this stuff just comes right off. But if you don't take the time to clean off these fingerprints and any of this contamination, you're just gonna grind that right into your paint job when you go to do this, and it can cause rust bubbles later, and that's not a good thing. So what we'll do is we'll just give it a once over with some acetone, kind of keeping it clean. Stuff, it's a kind of a warm day, so the stuff evaporates pretty quick. Doesn't have to be perfect, but all of this stuff really matters. Cleanliness in paint is next to godliness. You really want to take the time to make sure you're starting with a good thing. It's like building a house. You want to have a good foundation. No matter if the roof's nice, if the bottom of it's falling off. We'll clean it off, we'll get the DA out, we'll get it sanded down, some scuff pads, get it all ready for prime. So on here I have 400 grit, and we're gonna do this. This is just on a DA. We're gonna do it mostly on the flat areas, and then the areas in here and on these edges, we'll do those by hand, because you don't really want to use a machine because you could round it over, could burn through. The idea here is not to sand it to bare metal. The idea here is just to scuff it and give it a mechanical adhesion, the ability for this stuff to grip to the primer. So we just want a scratch in it, as they call it. So a lot of these areas that could be thin around the edges, we'll get close, but we'll hit all the edges and everything with just a red Scotch-Brite. And I want to stop, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. I just barely hit that with it for like a half a second, and it went right through it. So that's what I'm saying, is you got to be really careful about. You ever want to fill this up and don't want to spill it, stick it in there. Just a little rag on the edge. Spray bottle without getting it all over you or the floor. We can do this in the sun. This stuff you gotta work quick, and you can see how hot it is, how fast it evaporates.
Still got stuff coming out. That's what you want. That's what you want. Just kept wiping it down with the prep all. So now it's coming off pretty much clear. So that's good. Yeah, it's different. It's salty, but it's good.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll just roll this back.
You're gonna get started, right? No. How's it gonna stop? You gotta, yeah, slam into my truck. Okay.
We're not going that far.
Good. I was thinking about something crazy like crunchy black.
236 Mafia.
Yeah, crunchy black.
After driving, gonna change your name to Buck Nasty. Cause you need to vacuum that coat.
It's hot out here today.
It's hot out here for you. You gotta get the money for the grant. You put 4 coats of clear on it. The idea there is to have enough to where when you sand it back off that you still provide the base coat protection. You want it to be nice so it's thick and glossy, and then you have enough material to cut down so that you're not really taking away from the protection of the base coat.
Yes, he said thick and glossy.
You're going to cut and buff it, and you're going to end up sanding off quite a bit of material, just making the panel flat. And being that your car has a factory paint job on it, yeah, you just don't want this to be too flat and shiny and the rest of it to look...
Like, oh, look at the hood.
Yeah, because then it's almost as bad as if it was the wrong color. And you want to have that protection of the clear coat. So you put 3 to 4 coats on it, and then you'll end up sanding off 2 coats of it just in the natural process. I'm glossy.
I'm glossy.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what to say.
Fat Dan is the epitome of, you can take the boy out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the boy. So I recommend that you always wear a mask, preferably a respirator style mask like Dan has around his neck, similar to that one, in order to keep the fumes and the paint particles and stuff out of your lungs. But I didn't bring one, and so that's why I'm using this mask right here, which is not ideal, but it's better than nothing. Next time I come in part 2, I will be wearing a respirator. We're just laying down the primer right now, not the actual paint.
Welcome to my mixing lab, also known as the front fender of my car, because we keep a hood. This is a U-Pull 2251. It's just a good high build primer. It's direct to metal. Make sure you check all the data on it. This is a 4-to-1 ratio, so that means it requires 4 parts of the material to 1 part of the hardener. We'll mix this up in a cup. Each one of these numbers across the top is a different mixing ratio. So we want 4-to-1, which is this one. And based on the fact that we're going to paint a hood, if we were going to do the number 1, we would do each one of these numbers. So because of the amount of materials I think we're going to need, we're going to go to 2 and then again at 2. So we'll fill up the primer to 2, and then we'll fill up the hardener to the number 2. We'll get it mixed up, let it sit for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we'll get it sprayed. And because it's kind of uneven, I just went just slightly above the 2. Some materials are more picky than others. You know, just make sure you read the manufacturer's sheet. We'll get this all mixed up really good. And then we'll put it into our PPS cup, which is a disposable type cup that goes onto the top of the paint gun versus the old traditional style canisters. And these can be, once the paint's dried, safely disposed of. Always follow local area codes recommendations on disposal of all paint products or any residual stuff. We only got one environment, so make sure you screw around responsibly. Give us hopefully enough material to do 2 coats. I would rather undermix than overmix and waste materials. So, and this stuff's kind of expensive. I think this little quart here with the hardener was around $80.
Good God. Okay.
That's why paint jobs are expensive. Pour this in, use every single drop that we can. Don't forget your lid. Make sure this is down tight. You hear that click? That means it's in there tight. Because if you don't do that and you put the lid on, it's just gonna leak all over your shoes. One quick thing for anybody who's wondering, this is an Intercraft paint gun. It was recommended by a YouTube guy named Faraway. Really good guy, does a lot of home stuff. Just kind of shows you that you don't need really expensive equipment. Based on the recommendation, we're gonna go ahead and use a 1.7, which it says right there. It's 1.7. So that refers to the diameter of the tip and the size. It's 1.7, I think, millimeters. It's the amount of fluid that's allowed to come out of it. So
I guess a Chevelle is good for something. Putting a Ford hood on it.
I think it might have slowed down.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
Whether it's forward under the hood or over the hood.
Well, thank you for watching. We really appreciate it, but this is the end of part 1 of painting the 2-inch cowl hood for the Black Widow. Much thanks to Fat Dan, who really knows what he's doing, man. If you guys get a chance, head over to his channel and show him some love, please.
Thank you, and we'll see you over there. Hope to be starting to upload a little bit more. I'm just kind of behind. I've got a lot of projects going on. Some that I record, some that it just takes too long to get done, so I just kind of hit and miss. But I'm gonna start working on doing some more stuff, more in depth, as soon as I can. As soon as the weather gets a little cooler and painting's a little bit better. Cool. Yeah, thanks.